Picture this. It's 4 a.m. You're in a subterranean club. The concrete walls are literally sweating, and you can feel the bass vibrating right in your teeth. You know that exact atmosphere, right? Well, that's exactly where we're heading today. Let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to put on our gritty Berlin music journalist hats and completely deconstruct Kelly Hector's dark industrial techno anthem, Berlin's Smoke Consequence by Kellytranscend. We'll be breaking down the sonic architecture, those uncompromising lyrics, and the unique cultural fusion that makes this track such a fascinating piece of modern underground art.
Just look at these words: punishment and consequences. This is not forgiveness. This is the core chant, just echoing through the track's literal and figurative smoke of consequence. As a music journalist, the second you hear this, you immediately know the stakes. The track has zero interest in making you feel comfortable. It hits you with this stark, cinematic tone right out of the gate, basically letting you know, hey, you've entered a space of absolute finality.
Okay, moving into Section 1, The Underground Beckons. Let's really set the scene for where this music truly lives and breathes.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that this track functions as a definitive sentence. Like it says, this isn't just music, it's a reckoning. In the deep underground electronic club scene, tracks like this aren't meant for casual background listening. No way. They are full-on physical and emotional experiences. This piece feels like it's broadcasting directly from the dark heart of Berlin, positioning itself as a personal reckoning that just echoes up from the underground. It literally demands your attention and forces you to confront the heavy reality of its message.
Next up, Section 2, Echoes of 95 Warehouse. Let's peel back some of these layers and look at the historical DNA driving these sounds.
What's really cool here is how Kellytranscend actively merges two totally distinct eras. She takes that raw, pioneering 90s warehouse DNA, heavily inspired by Detroit techno and those specific dark 95 sounds, and aggressively drags it right into the modern underground. She transforms it using massive cinematic production values to create this gritty, late-night intensity that just perfectly fits today's Berlin club culture. It's honestly a brilliant bridge between the genre's historic roots and its imposing modern aesthetic.
Let's look a little closer at the actual mechanics of this anthem. We've got pounding kicks that practically anchor your feet to the floor, paired up with these metallic loops that give everything a cold, industrial edge. But actually, it's not all harshness. The heavy echoes and swirling pads create this vast, cavernous sense of space. And as a critic, this is exactly what you're listening for. It's that perfect balance between brutal, physical percussion and atmospheric sound design that just totally engulfs you.
All right, Section 3, Vocals in the Smoke. Now we're going to shift our focus from the machines over to the human element.
Because at the very heart of this track, there's a spectacular contrast. We just talked about that gritty, unforgiving industrial backdrop, right? Well, floating directly above it, Kelly Hector drops in these haunting, ethereal female vocals. The contrast is just magnetic. You've got beautiful, cinematic vocal tones layered straight over a brutal metallic beat. And this juxtaposition is exactly what elevates the dark tone of the whole anthem. The vocals are delivering these vengeful chants, but doing so with this airy, haunting quality that just slices right through the heavy echoes of the machinery.
Moving on to Section 4, A Lyrical Reckoning. Let's really dive into Kellytranscend's uncompromising songwriting.
You really have to notice the sheer weight of these lyrical themes. Kelly Hector is definitely not writing your standard feel-good dance floor hooks here. We're talking about a repeated focus on punishment, unavoidable consequences, vengeance, and a total lack of forgiveness. This is incredibly heavy material. The songwriting basically positions the whole track as an absolute personal reckoning. It acts as a vocal transmission using the language of justice and retribution. And it turns the club into a safe space for working out some incredibly intense, dark human emotions.
Which brings us to Section 5, Melbourne to Berlin. Let's look at the cultural convergence at the core of the artist's identity.
This is such a fascinating cross-pollination. Kelly Hector brings her distinct origins all the way from Melbourne, Australia, right into the epicenter of the European techno scene. And the thing is, she isn't just mimicking the Berlin sound. Instead, she brings an outsider's fresh perspective, fuses it with that dark 95 warehouse legacy we talked about, and authentically broadcasts her message from the deep underground heart of Berlin. It's a perfect illustration of how global the language of techno has really become, all while fiercely respecting its geographic meccas.
All right, our final section, Section 6, the dance floor consequence. How does all of this theory actually translate to the physical club space?
Let's break down how this translates into a visceral journey for the audience. So step 1, that pounding kick absolutely demands a physical response. It locks right onto your pulse and gets your body moving.
Then, step 2, those swirling pads roll in, creating this disorienting, smoky atmosphere that completely pulls you out of your own head. And finally, step 3, the emotional reckoning hits you through those haunting vocals. It's this seamless movement from a purely physical, industrial reaction straight into a deep emotional finality, delivered by the lyrical hooks.
So, to wrap up our explainer today, I really want you to ponder the ultimate consequence of this track. We've explored the dark Detroit influences, the metallic production, and that haunting clash of vocals. But when those strobe lights finally burn through the club smoke and the chant explicitly tells you there is no forgiveness, what's the ultimate takeaway? Well, it leaves us with a pretty provocative thought. Perhaps the dance floor isn't always a place to escape our consequences, but rather a place to finally confront them head-on. Thanks for joining me in this breakdown. Keep listening closely, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.